Happy afternoon to you. Hey girl, let me get rid of this gum. You guys, excuse me. You know how my afternoon talks are. I'm, I'm in the car. I'm on my lunch, and all that, and so I just had a minute to be able to sprinkle some conversation with you guys. First off, I want to say thank you to all of you who have been supporting what I do, who have been a part of watching me over the years just kind of flap my wings and flutter and all that. And I just want to say you're appreciated. You're appreciated. I'm praying and knowing and hoping that it's going to be greater to come. It's all about that commitment. It's all about that keeping your eyes on the prize, just doing what you do. And if I know that in even the littlest smidgen of a way that I'm making a difference in helping someone, um, it elates me. That's all I can say. But again, thank you. And one of the things I wanted to talk about really quickly was the fact that you know how you go into one situation, relationship, and you come out of another and you go into another. And a lot of times it's just folks just they end up taking their issues from the last relationship and bringing it in the new relationship. You see what I'm saying? They sit up and they they start being very judgmental towards the new person that they're with because of what they just went through. Perhaps it was a situation where trust was an issue. Um, that person was not motivated, not complimentary, not affectionate, not romantic, not spontaneous, not available on the physical level to clap when needed, things of that nature. So they carry that baggage, they get out of that situation, they carry that baggage into the new. So the other person is doomed from the gate, even if they try to do things of just a normal, natural, level based on their own personality and morals and things of that. They're still being judged and weighed based on the other. And a lot of times that comes from a person not getting rid of the baggage from their old situation. They have not unloaded. They have not unpacked. They have not gotten to a point where they let that go, closed that door, and learned and grew from it, and now moving on. That's why it's important too not to go from one thing to another so quickly. One thing to another. It's like, man, before you can come up from air. I remember years ago, I had that issue. I would close the door with one thing, somewhat, and then I would end up over here in another situation, like immediately. And when I say immediately, I'm not saying the next day, but before you can even have a chance to woosah and self-reflect and mourn your loss and all of that, because it is a mourning. Before you can do that, you have someone else that's emotionally right there giving you that comfort, and before you know it, you're doing things and you're caught up in another relationship, and you still have feelings for the last person. So that's just a disaster waiting to happen right there. It really is. You have to give yourself time. So when you don't, it's so easy to start finger pointing with your new love in regards to things that spike up in your memory, or things that happen that make you go, that was a horrible time in my life. That person I was with before didn't like to communicate. Now this person is shutting down communication. And you pointing fingers. And sometimes people will openly say, yeah, you just like that last person I was with. Or that last person I was with did me the same way. Just shut down with communication. I'm sick of that. And then you end up spilling over what happened in your last relationship. And now this person over here is carrying the weight, not only with your issues, but issues that you had with someone else. So, my word of advice with that is you need to give yourself time to unload, unpack all that emotional baggage that you come from. And you don't need to get involved quickly with someone else new when you still need time to get yourself together. And I would say, I believe that more men are more apt to turn to the next, even when they just feel like their situation is on the outs. It's like, oh, I need a spare tire. I need a spare tire. She tripping. We may break up. I knew one person who um, ended up getting them a little small studio apartment while they were still in their situation with their wife. They went out and got a little studio apartment that was their comfort zone. They would go there, kick it for a few hours, whatever, pay the rent every month, keep the lights on and the water, and then go home to who they were with. Well, they never did disclose to the person they were with that they had a place until it just blew up in the midst of a counseling session that they both agreed to go to, and boom, here comes the story. And the other mate was like, you what? You have a so that explains why your money has been tighter. That explains why we can't go on vacations. That explains why you tripping. That explains why you come home late sometimes. You know what I'm saying? And it just opened up a whole nother bottle of distrust and things of that nature, resentment, all of this. It's like the nerve. And especially when something is betrayal, the person feels betrayed, and the monies that you were supposed to be putting into the household was going to keep your situation right over there. And it's one thing when you can, yeah, but you shouldn't do this at all. But if you did do it and could afford it monetarily and take care of both places, fine. But if home has to struggle because you out here doing the extra, but you still at home, you might as well leave. You might as well leave. Pack your bags, be gone. Bye, goodbye. You know what I'm saying? So you have to be very careful of how you make your moves, and in your baggage and this and that. And apparently that person must have had trust issues, or had been hurt before, or abandoned before, and just didn't want to put themselves in a situation to risk that happening again. So to make sure that that didn't happen, they went on and got them a place while they still was in a place. I just sometimes I don't get it. I don't get why people do sometimes what they do. Have a good walk. And the issues that it caused with who you're with, and you don't see. I mean, I know love is blind. Love is blind. And sometimes, as women, we have our intuition. We know that something is not right and something is going on, but we can't quite put our finger on it, you know. And when you start having that intuition, it's for a problem. And having an intuition is different from being just totally insecure and jealous. Some are insecure and jealous, and That's just how it is. I don't care what you was doing right or what you even think you was trying to do wrong. They gonna always just not trust you because they got their own demons they have to deal with, and that's a person that needs to be alone until they get it together. But you have um, you have that situation where people are, scared to leave the comfort zone of what they have, but they have an intuition that something's not quite right. So, a lot of times it's just you don't know how to approach it. You don't know the right way to approach it. So it's accusing, it's threatening to leave, it's bad mouthing, bashing, disrespecting, doing all that instead of just keeping your eyes and your ears open and sitting down and having a talk about these feelings and why you're feeling that way. And another thought, some couples just find it very difficult to communicate. And if you do have that issue, that's a red flag because communication is very, 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 very important. So just because you are in a zone where you are openly expressing how you feel about something, perhaps you don't like the way, let's throw something out there. You don't like the way your mate acts when their friend is over. So, say for instance, your dude, when his friend comes over, Johnny, he seems to act a lot more cockier and bossy towards you in front of Johnny. Perhaps he's dealing with trying to portray or prove that he's the man, that you are the weaker vessel. I don't know why some would do that, but I'm just giving an example. So he wants to act real bossy and cocky when Johnny comes over. So, not in front of Johnny, but when you got an opportunity, you ended up just wanting to talk to your mate and express that, you know, when Johnny comes over, I notice that you act different towards me. And it makes me feel very uncomfortable and it makes me feel some kind of way. Well, what do you mean? I act funny towards you. Well, I just noticed that, you seem to be a lot more bossier and, you seem to want to show Johnny that you're in control of this thing. And, I just want to say, dear, you don't have to do that. I know you're the man and I know that, you love me and things. You don't have to treat me that type of way in front of Johnny. Well, I don't know what you're talking about. You tripping. I don't treat you no kind of way. I treat you the way I always treat you. And if you don't like the way I treat you, whatever, because I don't even want to talk about this right now. Where the remote? Now that's total disrespect right there. So he has totally blocked out what she is trying to tell him from the heart of how she feels, of how maybe she's portraying, she's getting this in this way for some reason. So he's portraying it. He's giving her it in a way to make her feel some kind of way. Now I know he know what he's doing, but just say he don't really know what he's doing. He doesn't feel as though he's doing that. So, why isn't he listening to her to really take in how she feels? She's not feeling this way just because. And then they both talk about it. And he work on maybe not being so forward and aggressive when Johnny is around. And then when Johnny's not around, he's treating her like, eating cake out of her hands. I mean, it just makes no sense. So when one runs from the fact of you wanting to communicate, or they always are coming back at the uh, the thought and the comment of, you just like to fuss. That's all you want to do is argue. I don't want to argue. And you're not screaming, you're not yelling, you're not cussing, you're not fussing. You're just expressing how you feel. Expressing how you feel is not arguing. It's not arguing at all. It's not. It's just a method and a way of communicating how you feel. If you don't let people know and you're connected with them in a relationship or whatever, even if it's a work environment type of situation, you have to sometimes let people, all the time, let people know how you feel. Because one can sit up and just assume all day long. You know, you hear it and see it all the time. They just assume, oh yeah, such and such, they all right. That don't even bother them. Mm-mm. You can joke with them. You can, and deep down inside, that's not the case. This person is boiling inside about whatever was thrown their way. So we have got to be mindful. I've said this before about how we treat people, how we present things, how we make things a priority. And we're all responsible in our relationships. It's not, you can't just put it on that one person. It's both of you guys' responsibility to come together. And by all means, if you have baggage that you're still dragging and harboring from another relationship, then you need to wait before you get someone else emotionally involved in your little web. Because it's not fair to them, number one. It's not fair to you either. And you could very well be setting yourself up to lose the most important thing in your life. One of the most important things in your life that you have been blessed with. This woman or this man. Because you're so into wanting to bang the hammer over their head based on your last relationship and some of the things that you haven't healed from in your last relationship. Because mind you, whether you're into counseling or not, sometimes depending on how fierce the breakup was, how I don't want to say violent, but sometimes it's just a very deep dysfunctional breakup that blows up into something very ugly that gets other people involved, that sometimes can get people hurt. It can be really, really ugly. And sometimes we need therapy to help us get through that, because it has us harboring so many negative, dark emotions behind it, and it just puts a blocker in front of us so that nobody else can really get in and pierce you here, because you don't want to go through in any way what you just came from. So it becomes unfair to the next person that gets emotionally caught up with you. So that's why it's good to identify that it's nothing wrong with you. It's nothing wrong at all. It's just that sometimes we need a little help and healing to move forward. And the best of us need that. Doesn't take anything away from anything. And you need time to heal. Now I understand that some, you know, you get into this mode of this mindset of, well, if I just had a warm body next to me, or someone to just be a space holder until I can get it right, because I get lonely sometimes, I'm going to do that. And eventually you got an attachment, you have emotions that get intertwined, and you are finding yourself more and more embedded in something that you're really not ready for. And then the next thing is, let me run and jump over that barbed wire and get out of here. And you ghost the person. 2, 3 months in, you see that you getting sucked in, and it's a terrible feeling because you've been there, done that, and you got really, really hurt. So you ghost them. Great person. They thought you was starting to care, and you thought you was starting to care, but you just couldn't go. That's because you had not unpacked and dealt with the emotions in the situation from your last relationship. So again, I want to reiterate, heal first. Do not take your baggage to the next relationship. Do not start hammering upside the head the person that you're with, comparing them to your ex, throwing darts at them. You don't want to sleep with me. Yeah, that's what they did. And what they did is they threw me on out. I went out to the wolves and I ended up getting something else, because what you won't do, somebody else will. That's the mindset. Those are the words that come out. The last thing you want to do is tell somebody that what you ain't doing, somebody else will. They already know what they ain't doing, somebody else will. You ain't got to tell them. And if you're so eager to say it and your mindset is in that place, perhaps you don't even need to be with this person. That's another red flag. So, on that note, like I said, let's get it together. Let's not take into our new relationships or our new marriages or whatever, our new situationship. Let's not take what came from the last into the new. You are building upon something better and greater with the new, supposedly. That's why you stepped into that. And by all means, don't do it until you're ready. Don't do it with reservations and hesitations. Don't do it with a mindset that, okay, I'm going to be all right because this person going to help me be all right. So let me just go on, and they nice, they sweet. I don't want nobody else to have them, so let me go. No, that ain't right. Not if you're not going to put your best foot forward and emotionally unpack that dirty old baggage and laundry that you brought from that other relationship. I'm your hostess with the mostest, Donna Smith, aka Lady D, here with an afternoon thought for you today. I want you guys to have a wonderful day. They got construction going on. I got to get back. But I just wanted to say, hey, let you know that you are appreciated. All of you guys. Mwah. Sending love, hugs, and many, many kisses. See you guys next show.